Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on my channel. And in today's episode, I'm going to be interviewing an entrepreneur that I admire, an entrepreneur that I respect, and an entrepreneur who has an amazing story. A little bit about her. She was featured on Shark Tank in 2019, and also she was featured in the Forbes 30 Under 30. Her story is truly remarkable, so I'm not even going to take a chance at trying to tell you the story. So I'll let her come in and share the story. But before she comes in, I just want to show you guys a little video so that you can get to know a little bit about Kelsey and what she's been able to build.
Help reduce stigmas around mental health and addiction recovery. Well, I'm Kelsey, founder and fearless leader at Doughp Cookie Dough, and I've got some really exciting updates for you on our Doughp for Hope initiative. Given my journey into sobriety, I feel pretty strongly about these issues, but they're not unique to me. Nearly 10% of people over age 12 are addicted to alcohol or other drugs. When I first got sober, the stigma surrounding addiction made me feel ashamed, like I had done something wrong. I'm now so proud of overcoming my alcoholism. From the moment I admitted I had a problem, my life completely blossomed. Addiction is a disease, and I hope that our work at Doughp can make it just a little less scary to talk about. Addiction is treatable, but many don't reach out for help because of the shame and stigma surrounding it. With every purchase of Doughp, you'll help us break that stigma. Traditionally, Doughp for Hope has highlighted 3 nonprofits. You can come through, purchase the scoop in our store or online, and we donate 100% of proceeds to the nonprofit that you vote for. Our work with Doughp for Hope is for our employees with our mental health policies, for the community with the pledge online, and for nonprofits working on these issues. I make the decision every single day to stay away from alcohol, to be the best version of myself, and to make this world a little sweeter, one scoop at a time.
Wow. Now, allow me, guys, to introduce you to Kelsey.
Thank you. What an intro, and nice memories back to my storefront days.
So, Kelsey, wow, like your story always gives me goosebumps whenever I hear it, or whenever I think about it, or whenever I read about it. So, you struggled with alcoholism, at a tender age. I think I think what, 12, 15, I forget.
Yeah, I was
So
14
maybe you can,
when I first started drinking. Yeah.
yeah,
Started
so maybe
early.
get into that story as to how you got into it and how you were able to get out of it, because I think it's important for people who are listening who might be struggling with it or know someone who's struggling with it to just know that there are mechanisms out there that can enable you to break free. So just share a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And I think it is so important to share more stories of these varying shades of alcoholism. There's such a stigma around like, I'm an alcoholic and what that must look like. And in many ways, it makes it harder to say you do have a problem and that you should stop, even when you do, until you've got a DUI or you've lost everything, you're sleeping on the streets, and it all has come crashing down per the like movie scenario of alcoholism. And for me, it was very different. I started to drink when I was 14, and this interest in both fitting in and also, quieting my mind a bit. It was like the first time I drank till I blacked out. And it was this like peace. I had a really high anxiety childhood, tons of issues with perfectionism, and my brain was just always going. And so alcohol was like, oh, it can be like quiet for a period of time. And I think I just really leaned into that too heavily. This opportunity that came for me when I was 16 to work in corporate America. I got a job at Intel, and what a chance to go in to like learn from these amazing leaders. But it was also added stress and added opportunity for me to really exacerbate my perfectionism. And so alcohol became sort of this crutch to not have to feel the feelings and to have an escape, have some quiet. And though it hadn't interrupted this like on the surface life, great job and great relationship and family who loves me and so many things to be grateful for. There wasn't any like Kelsey left, there just wasn't anything unique about me. I was like this chameleon, and all I had to show was my work. And there wasn't much outside of that I was passionate about anymore or doing. And September of 2015. So we're in September recording this now. So I just turned 6 years sober. And this choice
A week ago, right?
a week ago today. Yeah, it's like such a special time. And funniest thing, I did not know this in 2015, but literally it's National Sober Day on 9/14. It's Recovery Month
Wow.
in September. And in 2019, they made National Sober Day on my sober birthday. So I won't take credit for that, but pretty cool timing.
Well,
And it was an important day.
happy belated sober birthday.
Thank you.
We'll drink
Yes.
some water to that.
Cheers. Water cheers.
Cool.
Mm,
So, you
yes.
started working at Intel at 16 or so, and, you got into this cycle of just, using alcohol to take you to a different place. What happened that broke that, cycle, because obviously it was a stronghold you're facing in your life. What were
Yeah.
some of the events that led you to then finally break free? And now, 6 years on, you haven't had any alcohol.
Yeah, it is so many events, plural, that like lead someone to finally saying enough is enough. And for those who have loved ones struggling, it's always like, why don't they just get it? Like, why can't they just see that it's enough and they should just stop? You're like this iceberg that needs these little chips away, like people kept chipping away at me saying, they were worried about me or that maybe they thought I should stop drinking. My family, close friends, the ex-boyfriend, my boyfriend at the time, had just really gone through it, seeing all these troubles. And it's these add-ons of those that care about you reaching out saying they'd like you to get help, and enough of the times letting myself down, saying
Mhm.
this is never going to happen again, and then it happens again, and you just feel like this definition of insanity, that you're going to keep trying things even
Yeah.
though it's like the same freaking result every time. So I was very desperate to figure out how to keep alcohol in my life. Society has put it in literally everything. I mean, you go get a pedicure and they're like, would you like a glass of champagne? It's like, it's 11 a.m. Like, let me just get my nails done. So it's really like, it was so hard to think, how could I be without it at all? So I was like, okay, I'll only drink on Wednesdays, or I'll have water after every drink, or I'll only do, I'll only have wine, like any type of mix or function I could do to try and make it work. And I even tried getting sober at 21 for about 4 months. I thought I'd do a reset. So it's like, it really took all these things. Like I reset for 4 months and didn't drink. When I started drinking again, I was blacking out within 3 weeks. So all these attempts and stuff continuing to fail, I finally just got to like one last hurrah. And when I came to that morning after that blackout, apologizing for all these things I barely remembered had even happened or that I chose to do, it feels like when you black out, there's like an alter ego that takes over. And I was just done that morning. I was just so done, in Barcelona on a business trip. And I was just picking up the pieces and saying, I never want to feel this way again. And found an English speaking AA meeting in Barcelona that morning. And I have been sober ever since. So it
Wow.
really is a kind of just build up of events over your life. And then when you're finally ready to make the decision, it's like you have a few people you just cannot wait to call and tell them that you finally got it and you're ready to like be better and stop worrying the shit out of them, you know?
Well, congratulations for being able to overcome that. I know some people, they suffer, they struggle, and they still haven't gotten out of it. But you are an amazing story out there, a beacon of light to show everybody that some of these things that you might be struggling with, you can overcome. And it's not just alcoholism. People struggle with different, types of addictions. And I think
Mhm.
it's important for everybody to be aware that these things happen, even if they don't face them, but so that they could also be able to provide help and support to others. Now, we're going to shift the conversation a little bit differently because you were able to go on a platform that a lot of entrepreneurs would love to go. So we'll talk about your experience on the tank. How did it feel, when the doors open and you walk out and you see all the sharks in front of you and you have to give your pitch, in 30 seconds or so? Like, what was the feeling you were feeling inside when you got on stage on Shark Tank?
I am going to pee my pants. Like that is the that's literally the feeling. Like I have never been more certain that pee was going to start streaming down my legs than in that moment. Literally, but like right before the doors open, it's like they're counting down from like 100 off stage. Like there's like a bunch of people off set, and the countdown starts so high. I'm a
Like,
solo
well,
founder.
mine starts at 30, which is good,
Yeah.
right?
That was long, but it feels like it's an hour-long countdown when you're standing behind these doors, like waiting for what's going to be such a big moment. Solo founders, I'm there by myself, and I'm literally like not joking when I say I thought like I'm gonna pee my pants. Your stomach is in like a full knot. You just cannot believe that level of nerves. Like I've spoken in front of a 4,000 person conference as a keynote. That conference was nothing compared to Shark Tank. So it was really nerve wracking just knowing that how this goes is going to live on for so long and will be shown to so many people. You know, Shark Tank re-airs for us every month and a half or so. We get a big spike in traffic one night and, you know, conversion rate drops because there's a lot of just looky-loos who want to like see if you're still around. But it's pretty frequent that it's out there. So your nerves are just like, this is super important. But as soon as the doors open, I had like the most calm feeling come over me. Like, I don't know, universal higher power, whatever it is, just there with me. Like, you've prepared your whole life for this. Do it. And I just like hit my mark, nailed the pitch. And I was just really in like a meditative state, like through the whole thing, really trying to like stay calm, focused on the numbers and not slip. And yeah, preparation's the name of the game for that. I prepared like crazy.
That's awesome. So I haven't had the pleasure of watching the episode. I've only just watched that clip. So I guess you can talk about what happened. Did you get a deal? Did someone invest? Did you turn down a deal? What happened?
Yeah, so the conversation started to go towards, you know, at first they're like, Kelsey, you're an amazing operator. Like Barbara Corcoran said, I was the most sophisticated store owner she'd ever met. Which I mean, it was amazing stuff. Some really nice things. And then it was like talking about the product, like how many people would you say like cookie dough? And I'm thinking like, a lot. Like, how do I even quantify this? Like, I rarely meet people who don't like cookie dough. I just didn't anticipate that the conversation was going to go around like, is cookie dough a good idea? Or largely, like, is it healthy? You know, this discussion
Mhm.
around the obesity epidemic. And, you know, that's where, you know, most of the sharks went out. We're like, with the obesity epidemic, we just can't support a company that says, let's eat more and like has calories in it. And I'm like, it's dessert, like it's cookie dough. I just really didn't think this was going to be my hurdle to talk through. But I got a deal that they didn't air, or like a offer that they didn't air from Mr. Wonderful, just like ridiculous on the valuation game that he was playing and wasn't going to be a good deal for me. So I had turned that down. And then yeah, and then all the sharks were out. And it was a big like emotional cliff dive when you're like, oh, like this was like going so well. And then like I didn't get a deal, but like I think it went okay. And it was just like it didn't end the way I expected. And as soon as I turned around, I'm still all positive and I waved and like clicked my heels and was like, have a dope day or something like that. And then I start walking down and the doors close behind me. There's a camera, I kid you not, like 6 inches from my face, walking backwards as I'm leaving. To film my reaction, and I just lost it. Like full emotion, tears
Wow.
pouring, out of body experience, because like it was such a build up to that moment, you know?
And then
And then
it's
you're
kind of
just
like they take you so high and then they just drop you type of thing, right?
exactly like, so your emotions are really on that roller coaster. And so when it ended, it's like, man, that's entrepreneurs like for you in a little nutshell, that like you just are so intrinsically like emotionally connected to your business. And these 5 people who could have dramatically changed my life saying no felt like I wasn't worthy. You know, I had to take a mental health day myself the next day and just reset and remember that like I did my best, and how nice it is that they said such amazing things about my skills as an operator. And like if they don't want in, someone else will. And you know, sure enough, that's proved to be true. So
So let's talk about your business and Doughp. I love the name, first of all.
thank
How
you.
did you come up with the name?
Well, this idea, you know, comes around, and I knew I wanted to do cookie dough. I'd been, you know, baking as a part-time vegan. Baking was a big part of my early sobriety to get back in the kitchen. And in this part-time vegan life, which I highly recommend, I used butter but no eggs. So I have this cookie dough that's safe to eat. And we were starting to work around with the idea of like, it's legit, it's chill, it's safe to eat raw, or you can bake it. So legit cookie dough. And I wanted a really catchy name. Like I wanted something that was one word. I love puns. I don't know why. And I guess I just wanted a company that would make people laugh. And I had said to a friend, like, I want to make this be a really dope dessert company. And she was like, oh, dope could have dough in it. You know, we had all these silly dough puns for the names. And it was like, dope, like that is it. It's yeah, a big part of my vocabulary. And now with all the work we do around addiction recovery, like it has additional meanings, and nice to be, you know, kind of reclaiming that word for something positive and helping you know, the opioid crisis that's in America in large part.
Yeah. So, as an entrepreneur, how important is branding to a venture? Because some people might have really cool ideas, but they don't really take the time in thinking about the name, the branding, the language, the persona of the brand. I'm curious to get your thoughts around the importance of that and how you've been able to really zone in and focus in making sure that Doughp has a
Yeah.
persona that relates to the target consumer.
Yeah, and I mean, I have my own view on it for what personally works for me. I can't say that someone's wrong for just getting a really high margin item and selling the shit out of it or drop shipping or whatever they want to do. If that's the kind of business you want to run, like more like good on you, keep going. If you want to build a brand that's going to be a household name and, will be one of the largest blank in the world, pick your industry, you're going to have to care about brand. It's going to be such a big part of it. So I think that for me, I really set my sights on making this be one of the largest dessert companies in the world with the biggest heart. And I knew that was going to require really building an intricate, thoughtful brand across everything. So brand for me is like from start to finish, like any portion of interacting with Doughp, including all of the people that are going to be behind the scenes at Doughp. Like the brand consistency is just really important for us. So visually, emotionally, conversationally, like how we come across, like it's all very well thought out on what I wanted Doughp to emulate and to stand for. Tying it in with the mission was, the best thing I could have done just for my own personal enjoyment too, of like, this gives me a why, like this gives me a reason to wake up in the morning. The impact you can have on real people's lives is really great to me. Of course, making like a really awesome business and getting a bunch of revenue is cool, but it's really, really cool to think about doing something that matters more and beyond you. And it's hard being an entrepreneur. So I need that kind of bigger motivation to keep going when times get really tough, because they're going to.
So you touched on a point that's near and dear to my heart, which is purpose-driven entrepreneurship. So, I started my first purpose-driven brand when I was in college. I had 150 bucks. I started a clothing line where we educated children in Africa. And I started a personal development brand where we also are educating children in Africa through the profits. And now I'm on a third one, which is a mission-based cookie company where we're feeding people. Now, I have a thesis around, there are these industrial revolutions, right? So you have the first industrial revolution that came about, a couple of centuries ago, second industrial revolution, third and fourth. I think there's a fifth one, and it really revolves around, the purpose-driven nature of a business. And, a lot of companies, never really take time to think about what does it mean to have a purpose. They just think about, hey, we have this widget, we can sell it for X, we buy it for Y, we make a profit of Z. But you sense that in the marketplace, there's a shift where consumers are now, more conscious. In fact, there's a term called conscious consumerism, where customers are actually willing to pay a little bit more for brands that have a purpose. Now, what's your perspective in terms of, someone who's an aspiring entrepreneur and they have an idea? What advice would you give them around ensuring that whatever they then do launch has some sort of purpose behind it?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a huge world. And I think the most important thing to keep in mind is like consumers can see through the BS. So you have some that are like struggling to figure out, like, oh, what's my cause going to be? Or what's my purpose going to be? And they're just like slapping some random donation on their business. Or there's like a one-off volunteer trip that their company does once a year, or, insert little CSR kind of tagline here. And I think consumers can see through that. So for somebody starting off, like get really real about what matters to you. And if you're not sure, if you're not personally plagued by anything or affected by anything, just go out and volunteer. Try and find some different nonprofits or causes in your area and like volunteer and see what strikes you, what starts to hit a nerve that's like, gosh, I didn't realize that was such a big problem. Like, what could I do to solve it? And remember that your product doesn't have to be really like truly at the surface level tied to that mission. Much like cookie dough, you wouldn't initially see cookie dough and think, aha, I bet they worry about mental health and addiction recovery. Like that's maybe not the first thing. But we've been really thoughtful about it and how to even incorporate it in an after the fact way. I didn't start Doughp thinking this is going to be the only thing that could service mental health and addiction. But being able to connect it and say, enjoying a cup of cookie dough itself is a bit of self-care and like a little TLC moment for you, and to share something with someone, to celebrate a moment, to celebrate a sober birthday, for example. We made a sober birthday box that you can ship to a friend. So there's ways that like the incorporation of it does come into product, but it's not to say there aren't really amazing companies out there that have gotten a big focus of like, what can we use our money generating machine to support in a cause format, and integrate it thoughtfully where that product is otherwise unrelated.
Wow. I like that. And the point I really want to take away is that, people would always think about, okay, well, I want to feed people, so I have to be a food-based brand. No, there's some brands that are like in totally different categories, like office stationery, but they still find a way to connect that with maybe hunger or water or whatever it is. I think the key point, though, is as a brand, you're thoughtful about making a greater impact rather than just making profits. Because I feel like, especially with millennials and the consumers that are growing and getting into the workplace nowadays, they're really thoughtful about where their dollar goes. I think as entrepreneurs, it's something that you just need to be thoughtful about and mindful about. Now, I always wondered, how is cookie dough made? And I was lucky enough to actually find a video that shows us how cookie dough is made. So let's take a look, and would love for you to maybe tell us a little bit about your process, but we'll start by showing the video, and then you can provide some great commentary around it.
Are you afraid of letting go? Life's a kind of cookie dough, and you can try to eat it slow, but you could miss it out. So take credit, does let it work out.
Okay, so that's a little behind the scenes footage of how cookie dough is made. So can you just walk me through the process as to what was happening, number one? And number two, how do you come up with these amazing flavors? Because I was taking a look at your website and they're really thoughtful and creative. So it's a two-part question that I would love to hear the answer to.
Well, I think the flavor part too leads into that, like, cookies are just my favorite dessert to make because they're so versatile, because you can make so many flavors. So much like ice cream, there's a base recipe to make, really like standard, think of chocolate chip cookie dough without the chocolate chips in it, like what that dough is, and being able to make a bunch of flavors from it. So I've always really loved that creative aspect. The mixing process that you see, we do all the dry and wet ingredients in a big old mixer. It's like 150-pound batches. This is a pro tip for any food manufacturers. Get some behind the scene footage on your TikTok account. We had a behind the scenes shot go crazy viral, like 3 million views, which is a great sales generator for us. Lots of people scrolling TikTok see something like that, they leave, they go Google you and purchase from your site. So the behind the scenes, people really love to see like mass manufacturing, of product. It's like seeing 200 pounds of dough at once is a lot. So but we mix it, and then it comes through an extruder to be able to put out the right amounts and pack them into our cups or our pints, like you see behind me. And then we also have our new Doughp drops that are like snackable and bakeable bites of cookie dough, and those are amazing.
Oh, nice.
You can pop them or put them right on a baking sheet and make cookies. They're delicious. They're dangerous, but they're delicious.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm actually going to try to get some. Now, let's shift into more of kind of like, business-centered questions. So, what's your vision for this company? Because I feel like, if you're an entrepreneur, you shouldn't just kind of like throw things at the wall, right? You should at least have a vision as to where do you want to take it. So 5-10 years from now, where do you see Doughp being in the marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, so our aspirational market position is really to be the largest dessert brand in the world with the biggest heart. So I tried to keep this incorporated to consider being really a household name. And I see Doughp as an extension, though we're starting with cookie dough. It is a platform for mental health and addiction recovery. And there are multiple different channels through indulgent desserts that, we could be bringing products to life in, some fun licensing deals to try and make Doughp much like Oreo, where you see, an Oreo ice cream. I want to see Doughp cookie dough ice creams licensed by the biggest names. So we're going big. I used to say world cookie dough domination when we were on Shark Tank, and now I've exceeded that goal. We got to be bigger than that. And we're on our way. We're trying to do it.
So are you guys selling international yet, or yes, just still in the US?
So we do sell to Canada, and then we're chatting with some partners on a potential for the UK, which is awesome. Would be great to open up that world. They do have somewhat of an affinity for Shark Tank, which is fun. So we get a lot of people from the UK asking when we're going to come over. Working on our international expansion. Still so much more to do even in the United States, and the business today, primarily direct to consumer and launching in grocery now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And, what advice would you give someone who's starting out, an entrepreneur, but primarily a female founder? Because I think there are a lot of ladies that watch this channel and might have ideas, and it'll be great to just hear from you. But I think the answer could be for everybody. But I just wanted to make sure, like, you also connect with the ladies out there.
Well, for all the women that are listening, I think the most important advice is to forget that you are a female founder and just go be a kick-ass founder. I think there is a lot of mindset, if you talk about entrepreneurial mindset, that goes into this where, sometimes people are like, oh, what's it like being a female founder? And has it been harder and all this? And it's like, I don't go into any meeting thinking, oh God, they're going to think I'm a female founder and I have less of a chance. I'm just like, I'm an awesome founder. I've built something amazing and they're going to be lucky to have a piece of it. So bringing that to the table is my best advice for female founders. Just like go out there and just be a founder and, know you've done something great. So for anybody just thinking about starting, if you have that idea, the like budding concept, or you're just getting it off the ground, got a few takeaways. I think like one is never say no to an introduction. This has helped me greatly grow the company very quickly. It can seem like the most random intro and you're just not sure would they really have any value. Take it. You just never know. And in those early days, you just need to be soaking up as much information and resource and connection as you can. I came from working in processor chips and now I'm chocolate chips with cookie dough. I had no connections in the food industry other than that I like to eat it. So I said yes to, and still say yes to anyone that someone else thinks I should meet. And it served me really well. So that's a big one. I think we talked about purpose, have your why and do something that's going to be, for more than you, both because it'll make you feel good. And like Kuda, you pointed out, there is this conscious consumerism that's taking flight and isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I think doing what makes you different and sticking with it is something else I would say, really stay hyper-focused on what it is about your business or service that makes you different from the rest, and try your best to ignore those that are going to come in and tell you to do X, Y, and Z. I can't tell you how many people have said we need to make a keto cookie dough or we need to make a gluten-free and this and that and like go into the health trends. And, Doughp is like, we know we're different because we're not leaning into all of the health trends, and we want to stand by being certified delicious. So it serves you to kind of focus on what makes you different. I'm going to make a seal for that so I can have like a little stamp on my packaging.
That's amazing. I like that. I like that. Now, as you can see below, right, it talks about entrepreneurial mindset. Now, can you share with me what are maybe 3 ingredients that are key to have an entrepreneurial mindset?
My entrepreneurial mindset recipe card includes, I think you need to have some serious determination. It is not going to be an easy path, and it's not for the faint of heart. And you, at the end of the day, will, care the most about your business more than anybody else. And so when what hits the fan, which it most definitely will, like you've just got to have that determination that you're going to get up and grind again another day and keep going. I think optimism, like a shade of optimism, is really important. Of course, you've got to have a realist by your side, like find a really great co-founder or, a C-suite position who can keep you grounded. But I really have such an optimistic outlook that I truly believe Doughp will succeed in anything we go towards. And though it may not be the direct path I thought it was going to be, I know there's another way around, and I just like never take no for an answer. So that bit of optimism is probably the next ingredient. I think the last ingredient needs to just be fun. I think it just needs to be, you got to have some fun mindset with marketing, like fun mindset with partnerships, fun mindset with even investors, find partners and people that you want to be around. And that'll keep serving you. Co-packers, fulfillment center, like find people that want to have fun with you. Cause this, like, yes, you're running your own business and it's hard, but like it shouldn't suck. And the people you work with shouldn't suck. And, you should be able to have some fun along the way.
Well, that sounds like a certified delicious recipe to entrepreneurial success. So, thank you so much for coming on. And before you head out, do you have anything for the guests? Do you have a code you can share for the website? How can people find you or Doughp? Anything you want to just leave and share?
Sure. I mean, getting some cookie dough would be awesome. So we're at doughp.com. It's dough with a P on the end.com. Yeah, Kuda 15 and get some cookie dough. We deliver nationwide and to 2 provinces up in Canada. So you can get after it. Makes a great gift, which is awesome. And if you want to connect with me personally, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So Kelsey Moreira, I married a Brazilian. It is Moreira, Moreira. So you can find me on LinkedIn.
So all of the links are going to be in the description below on this video. So just feel free to, go to their website. The code will be there as well. And you'll be able to grab some delicious cookie dough that you can enjoy. Well, Kelsey, thank you so much. And before we go, I just want to close out with a video showing some reactions from customers as they've tried your cookie dough. So check this out.
I actually really like this. It's not that sweet, but it's sweet enough for me. It won't give me a toothache.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is it good?
That is so good.
I need the bigger one.
How do we get the bigger one? It's like
A little bit of heaven, right?
yeah, a little bit of heaven.
You want me to try this out? That's delicious.
That guy gets me every time.
So guys, as you can see, if you go try cookie dough, you're going to have a little bit of heaven. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us and for the amazing wisdom and knowledge that you shared. Happy sober birthday. Really proud of you and your journey. We'll make sure I put a reminder in my calendar so that every September 14th, I shoot you a text message to say happy sober birthday. And I can't wait for you to reach 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of sobriety. And I think you're not just going to inspire just the people around you, but even people that you're not even aware of. So again, thank you so much and wishing you tremendous success.
Thank you, Kuda. Thanks everybody for listening and have a dope day. One last pun. We got it in. We did it.